Hey guys, welcome to the Daily Word Bible Study, a plain and simple book by book, chapter by chapter, and verse by verse study through the entire Bible. Currently, we are in Proverbs chapter 24. So let's get right to it. Proverbs chapter 24. It says, "Don't envy evil men or desire to be with them." Stop. So as you can see, some of these proverbs he's repeating and then sometimes adding different applications like don't desire to be with them. One of the things when I was growing up before I came to Christ, I had an insatiable desire to be a part of the world. And part of the world meaning that what I fantasized was cool, being at parties. Because don't envy evil men and or desire to be with them. By the way, parents, this wisdom you ought to be teaching your kids. Now, my mother wasn't a Christian in the sense like when I think of a committed Christian. So no, she wouldn't teach me this. She did teach me words of wisdom. In principle, yeah, she would say don't hang out with bad people. I definitely was taught that. He says, don't envy evil men or desire to be with them, for their hearts plan violence and their words stir up trouble. Just watch the news and you'll see how this plays out here. Verse 3, a house is built by wisdom and it's established by understanding. Now, just in a practical business sense, that's true. If you're talking about building a house, get the wisdom. We would even say, do your homework, right? There's a lot of wisdom in building a house rather than just go and get a loan and build one. I think the broader king here is also the house is the structure of your life, but again, a house is built by wisdom and is established by understanding. Verse 4, by knowledge the rooms are filled with every precious and beautiful treasures. That's so true. So notice he said wisdom though, and some of that is not necessarily wisdom that is of the financial strain. Okay, in other words, it can you fill your house by ill-gotten gain? Obviously. How about foolish gain, like signing your way to credit cards? Um, but how about when you do it right and you by wisdom you're able to build a house debt free or have a nice structured finance, one that won't tie you up. Okay, verse 5. A wise warrior is better than a strong one, and a man of knowledge than one of strength. Now, just think about how wise that one is. Why do you think gangsters employ strong men? Just saying. Just because you have strength doesn't mean you have the wisdom. A person who is a lot weaker than you but wiser rules over you. Verse 6, for you should wage war with sound guidance. Victory comes with many counselors. Um, I hope I never have to be in this. Let me just let me let's put this to use. If we go back to one of the wars that we got involved with without that wasn't wise. We were in it for many years and it cost many lives. That is the danger of foolish men starting wars. I am thankful for one particular president that wasn't voted in because more than his antics, and he is a fool, what I feared most was that fool could have got us into some conflicts that he doesn't care about, by the way, that his family will be safe, but your family, your loved ones who go to war can get killed because of his foolish acts. Verse 7. Wisdom is inaccessible to a fool. He does not open his mouth at the gate. Okay? Verse 8. The one who plots evil will be called a schemer. A foolish scheme is sin, and a mocker is detestable to people. The one who plots evil will be called a schemer. And then he goes on and says a foolish scheme is sin. Verse 10. If you do nothing in a difficult time, your strength is limited. Verse 11. Rescue those being taken off to death, and save those stumbling towards the slaughter. Very interesting when we think about sometimes the mob mentality. Even today, that's growing. We see stuff in the news all the time about um, how mob mentality. Notice he said, rescue those being taken off to death, and to save those stumbling towards the slaughter. Again, these are general proverbs, right? If you just can't take that by itself and apply it to any and every situation you want. All right, verse 12. If you say, but we didn't know about this, won't he who weighs the hearts consider it? Won't he who protects your life know? Won't he repay a person according to his work? So in other words, you cannot just say, they know. Okay. Verse 13. Eat honey, my son, for it is good, and the honeycomb is sweet to your palate. Realize that wisdom is the same for you. If you find it, you will have a future, and your hope will never fade. Now think about this, that sometimes this, when you do things out of wisdom, how sweet it is to your mouth or your palate or to your heart. You think back and you go, yeah, I did that one right. Okay. Verse 15. Wicked man, don't set an ambush at the camp of the righteous man. Wicked man, don't set an ambush at the camp of the righteous man. Don't destroy his dwelling. Kind of one of the first times I've seen him speak actually to a wicked man itself. He speaks to those foolish, yes, but actually this is actually to a wicked man. Kind of interesting proverb here. Verse 16. Though a righteous man falls 7 times, he will get up, but the wicked will stumble into ruin. He says, don't gloat when your enemy falls, and don't let your heart rejoice when he stumbles, or the Lord will see it and be displeased and turn his wrath away from him. Now, this is kind of interesting because sometimes this is hard to do when your enemy, and this is something we see as a principle throughout Scripture, by the way, that this is one of the ones, like when you see someone who just been torturing you, tormenting you, he says, and when they fall, come on, you want to be like, Lord, come on, it's just a little bit, just a little bit, Lord, right? He said, don't gloat when your enemy falls. Think about it from a Christian's perspective, though. Your enemy also one day could be your brother. Your enemy could be one whom God saves. And in some respect, yes, it's a bitter pill to swallow, or it feels like a bitter pill to swallow until you realize you are God's enemy. You, every one of us at one time were God's enemies. And while, yes, we can take it personally when people personally attack us, he says, but don't rejoice when they fall. You know, I've had many people who kind of like that I wanted to get revenge on. I mean, one time there was a guy who used to just belittle me. And I ended up coming face to face with this pastor. And it was like oh, gritting my teeth. Oh, not to say, not to disparage that guy. You know? Now, as it turns out, God ended up using that particular person that used to torment me. So that, again, that's just perspective. But sometimes we want to gloat, Lord, please let them fall. Or I could, ooh, if I could just do that. All right, verse 19. Don't be agitated by evildoers, and don't envy the wicked. For the evil have no future, and the lamp of the wicked will be put out. Now, that doesn't mean you will always see this, but it is certainly true. Verse 21. My son, fear the Lord as well as the king, and don't associate with rebels. For destruction from them will come suddenly, and who knows what distress these two can bring. Now, fear the Lord as well as the king. I only say this one because this is something that uh, Christian nationalists, all right, Christian nationalists, um, this could be something that they could use if they wanted to. Christian nationalists. In fact, there was doing the what age am I looking at? Um, right around the Protestant break, there was always this kind of conflict between the church and state. That's what I'm looking for, the church and state. Right? My son, fear the Lord as well as the king. That phrase could be some of the seeds of church and state. And I'll just leave it at that. Verse 23. These sayings also belong to the wise. It is not good to show partiality in judgment. That's true. Whoever says to the guilty, you are innocent, people will curse him, and tribes will denounce him. But it will go well with those who convict the guilty, and a generous blessing will come from them. Now, unfortunately, we're living in the age where there are a lot of Christians that are, because their political figure fits their narrative, that they are showing partiality. They are saying to them they are innocent, but to their shame. Verse 26, he who gives an honest answer gives a kiss on the lips. He who gives an honest answer gives a kiss on the lips. All right, verse 27. Complete your outdoor work and prepare your fields. Afterwards, build your house. In other words, do your work first and then build your house to enjoy. Verse 28. Don't testify against your neighbor without a cause. Don't deceive with your lips. False, in other words, false witness. Verse 29. Don't say, I'll do to him what he did to me. I'll repay the man for what he has done. Now, the other side of that, of course, is that the Lord is the avenger. That's why. Verse 30. Verse 30. I went by the field of a slacker, and by a vineyard of a man lacking sense. Thistles had come up everywhere. Weeds covered the ground. And the stone wall was ruined. I saw. I took it to heart. I looked and received instructions. A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest. And your poverty will come like a robber, and your need like a bandit. Now, there's a lot of ways of thinking about that. The point is laziness. That's the bottom line. Laziness. That laziness will produce. Laziness will, excuse me, laziness will um, um, always produce bad. Now, if you think about this in other applications, your poverty will come like a bandit. When you don't do what you need to do in a timely fashion, when you don't take care of things. One of the things I'm amazed at is how quickly ruin can come. Weeds. I worked at a place and it was shut down, and within 2 years, it looked like it had been abandoned for ages. But he's talking about, notice this, if you don't take care, if you're not diligent to work, then he says, notice he says, your poverty will come like a robber and your need like a bandit. Storing up when you should be storing up. Look at another thing. Preparing for retirement. If you're in your 20s, I know you have no concept of this. Because when I was in my 20s, I had no concept. And even now, I only contribute this to the Lord's mercy. But, but, like now, I'm in my retirement age, and so because of that, my retirement age, uh, I'm in a okay shape to retire right now. If I wanted to retire right now, I'm in an okay shape. Like I said, I'm in the retirement age. I'm 63, so I get two pensions and Social Security. I'll do okay. But I think about one, I probably could have done better had I acted in wisdom. But I also could have done worse. Could have done worse, right? There's some, I know people who do not have pensions, for example. So how do they survive in retirement age? Well, Social Security. And then you think about, what if you don't have Social Security? There are people who don't have Social Security. Again, just thought, food for thought here. All right, guys, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. I'll see you in the next study.